Alright, here's to you, Ethan and Mark. This is the same machine that you used, and as you can see I have plenty of beans. First I always want to check that I have plenty of water. I never put it right at the minimum, I always add extra for when I'm doing it. I have my grind size set to 2, I don't mess with this thing at all. Now we're ready to start. So you can probably tell I have set it to way farther than what is normal. If you put it here, the automatic grind will put you just about at the right size, but I prefer doubles, and I put it to here and then I grind it at single, because if you put it to normal and grind as a double, you get too much coffee and it spills. So putting it to here on single with the filter size, which I can adjust but I don't because I don't want to mess up, puts it at single. This way I can just push and let it go. I always use whole milk. And I put the whole milk in this, and I'll show you that in a moment. But this is now done grinding. You can see that it spilled very little. It's just about ready to be tamped down. When you do this, you want the tamp to be just about at the top. So this is probably going to need just a tad bit more. Pause the video, add it a little bit more, and that'll about do it. So now this is ready to go. Whenever we're set, just put it in and lock it. I'm going to use my favorite spook cup today. Alright, so the camera probably just jumped a little bit because I paused it again. So I went ahead and added the milk. I like a lot of foam in mine, so I put my milk to pretty low actually. That way I can add more foam from it. This is just regular whole milk. We like Royal Crest in my house. Now this I like to keep out of the way for now, because this can be kind of problematic. Initially, I'll just stick it in and just let it start. Now while that is deciding to run, grab my paper towel. If I can actually use my fingers. Put it in half, and then completely soak it. Now I use this to clean the machine. With it completely soaked, I stick it to the side of our sink, flop it over, and squeeze out. Alright, so there's plenty of background noise right now, so hopefully you can hear me over the sound of the machine and the background noise. Right now I'm just letting it steam. Alright, so at this point it's been steaming for a little bit. The metal is kind of hot. So what I do is I will pull it out to the side, and then to make foam, you want to get the nozzle to spray right on the edge of the milk. You want to get that noise right there, where it's no longer screaming at you, it's making foam instead. Now the best angle to have this at is actually way out to the side, apologies, over here. This way I can get plenty of foam on the edge. And now that it's starting to get close to the top, I'll recenter it and let it finish steaming. I had the same issue as Mark. It exploded. Now that it's steamed a little bit, I go ahead and take my wet paper towel and I make sure I clean this real good, because if you don't clean it, then it can have issues. It can grow mold on the inside. It's very important to make sure that you get all of that extra foam off, just to keep the machine clean in general. You want to make sure you squeeze out extra water, because it will collect in the bottom. That's what this little nubbin is over here for. It'll collect in there, which you can eventually get rid of, but it'll save you time if you don't do it. Alright, I needed an extra paper towel just to clean up my mess. Here's all my milk foam. It's kind of spilled over the side. I just burned myself on it, but it's fine. That tells me that it's hot. I grab my spook cup, put it underneath, and I have a double shot. Even though I ground it on single, with the extra, I wanted a double, which is how I prepped this one. It does want me to clean it. I'll clean it eventually. That's another issue. And we'll start and watch the pressure gauge. If I don't have enough, it'll probably come to right here. I rarely ever go over. But it's very possible that I don't have quite the espresso range. See, there we go. Excellent. This is what makes a good cup of espresso. It's not how many times you run it through that gives you the caffeine, it's the beans that you use. For instance, we use the espresso roast from Starbucks, which works fine for us. It's a dark roast, so you get more flavor out of it and not as much caffeine, but it's really not bad either way. Alright, now that this is done, I have to gently remove it from my cup. I go over and I pour it directly into the sink because coffee grinds get everywhere. Now I start the water and push it through the back end, just like this. It loosens up anything on the inside after it's been pressurized. And if it doesn't come out directly, it's usually loose enough that you can get what's ever left. This time it came out mostly intact, which is nice. Makes it significantly easier to clean the sink. Next on top of that, this just drains a little bit. I just go ahead and put it straight on. It'll drain right into that. I'll clean it later. Now this, you only get a little bit of espresso in the bottom, but that's also the point. It's very powerful coffee, so you don't need a whole lot in there. Next, usually I take this and I'll just straight up pour it in. I'm not very good at latte art. I've started practicing a little bit. As you can see, it's not all 12 right now. I fill up that last quarter inch usually completely with foam. This time it looks like it's a little less than I would have hoped, but that's okay. Now using that foam is more of a palette, and I have this little stick thing. I can dig around and make different designs. So I'm going to start in the middle and make multiple curves. That way, make the unisonus circle. Now with this, I go ahead and use some of these things. I'm going to use Torani, my bad, chocolate. Tortellini is a kind of pasta, ain't it? And now that I have several grooves in here, I'm going to go ahead and apply the chocolate to that. If I can get this to focus and to do this at the same time, that's where one was. There's another one over here. The last one right here. Another one over here. Now it's not a very good spiral. I probably should have curved it a little more, but it's a start. It's a little bit more practice. Now you are ready to enjoy your espresso. Of course, always remember to turn off the machine. I always forget that. And the cleanup process isn't too bad. You can just rinse this out. You can add some milk to this, gather up the rest of the foam, and pour it in. No issue. Just make sure you clean up everything for your next use.